This is Modified Country USA. For Modified Country USA are Rick Cool and Ron Bailey.
Hi, I'm Ron Bailey, and welcome to the premiere show of Modified Country USA, brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft.
And I'm Rick Cool, and for the 1991 racing season, we'll be bringing you this weekly program featuring racing highlights, driver interviews, and special features from the historic Flemington Speedway.
On today's one-hour premiere of Modified Country USA, we'll have highlights of the Chamois Shine 200 weekend from last October, our last weekend on dirt, and we'll look ahead to what's in store in the 1991 season at the Flemington Speedway as a new era begins, a new era on asphalt.
To begin, we'd like to welcome Miller Genuine Draft as a new sponsor of Flemington Speedway in 1991. Miller Genuine Draft will be the sponsor of the overall point fund for the Modified, Sportsman, and Late Model Championships. Miller will also be the major sponsor for this Modified Country USA cable TV series.
And when we come back, we'll take a look at October's Chamois Shine 200 weekend, or last weekend on dirt.
Modified Country USA is sponsored in part by Miller Genuine Draft.
Welcome back to Modified Country USA. Rick, sprint cars have always been an exciting part of Flemington Speedway.
And the last weekend on dirt was no exception.
That's correct. So let's take a look at the qualifying heat races for the Bass Hastings Keystone Sprint Cars. In the second sprint car heat race for the Bass and Hastings Keystone Pretzel Sprint Cars, brothers Dale and Dave Blaney from Ohio were competing against each other. Now, Dale Blaney was the fastest qualifier on the day, but he had his problems in the 4B with the motor letting loose here, coming off of turn number 4. Meanwhile, Chris Esch in the next heat race goes to the inside of 8-time Flemington Speedway champion Billy the Kid Pouch to take over the lead in his heat race. Pouch, however, will answer Esch in the feature event in the 126.
Now the field is set for the 25-car, 25-lap Voss and Hastings Keystone Pretzel feature event. And at the green flag, Chris Esch, from his outside front row starting position, takes the lead away from Glenn Fitzcharles, with Pouch now in 4th spot at the start. As they go into turn 3, a couple of cars getting together. The 69 of Don Kreitz and the 81 of Bob Beetleman bounces off the wall. Then on lap 13, leader Chris Esch bounces off the wall in between 1 and 2. A lap later, Esch goes high, Billy Pouch goes low to take the lead in the 126. Esch drops out of the race. Then Billy Pouch continues his torrid pace, lapping cars as the race winds down. Billy Pouch in the 126 goes on to win the Keystone Pretzel Boston Hastings Sprint Car Championship race. Ron, it was a shame that Dale and Dave Blaney weren't more of a factor for Saturday's sprint car races.
That's right, Rick. But I guess it's only appropriate that Billy Pouch, driving the Keystone Pretzel house car, the sprint car, the 126, won the Bass Hastings Keystone Pretzel Sprint feature event.
Also on Saturday, we had the Flemington Car and Truck Country Winners Classic Dash for Cash. Fritz Upright jumped out to the lead, followed by Paul Latier, Doug Hoffman, Ken Bren, Billy Pouch, and Toby Tobias Jr. On a later restart, Doug Hoffman powers around the outside of Fritz Upright to take the lead. Hoffman looking strong, looking good for what would be tomorrow's Chamois Shine 200. Here's a scene you don't see too often. Going into turn 1, Billy Pouch gets the car sideways, spinning, and brushes the wall in between turns 1 and 2. And Doug Hoffman went on to win the Flemington Car and Truck Country Dash for Cash. In preparation for the Chamois Shine 200, Doug Hoffman looked like the man to beat.
On Saturday, over 80 small block modifieds checked into Flemington Speedway to try to qualify for the Flemington Speed and Sport 100-lap feature event for the small blocks. Let's take a look at the highlights of the small block modified qualifying heat races. Qualifying for the Flemington Speed and Sport 100 qualifying heat races here, Bruce Hooper in the 08, loops it down the front stretch, narrowly avoiding disaster. Matt Quinn, New York campaigner, in the car number 44, bounces off the inside wall and then out the outside wall on the back stretch. Bill Tanner from Newtown, Pennsylvania, driving the 917, defending small block champion, holds off veteran modified campaigner Doug Hoffman in the 125 here. Bill Tanner, a regular in our sportsman division, running with the small block modified. Holding off Doug Hoffman. Hoffman on the outside now from Allentown, Pennsylvania, pressures Tanner in the final corner, but Harry D with the checkered flag for Bill Tanner in the 917. A couple of cars get together here in turn number 1, collecting Toby Tobias in the 17. Tobias would have his problems in turn number 1 all weekend. Tobias makes his way back through the field. Here he makes his way around two-time feature event winner Jeff Cool. And Toby Tobias down the back now makes the move on Cool in the Tobias speed equipment number 17. Tobias in for the checkered flag in his heat race in car 17. Rick Chilmonic in the Ford-powered number 2 had his problems in turn number 4, sliding sideways and losing it in turn number 4. Coming up here, the rookie driver, Bobby Hummer, flips the R7 on the back stretch. Bobby Hummer tried the outside, tagged the outside wall, went up over on its side, coming to a stop. New York invader Danny Johnson was involved in the small block wars here in car number 28, the Roundhouse 28. Danny Johnson moves to the inside of Ringgold, New Jersey's Brian Shelley. Johnson moving through the short chute into turn number 4. Danny Johnson would go on to win the qualifying heat race for the small block modified. Some interesting qualifying heat races there, Rick, as Toby Tobias began to have problems in turn number 1 that would plague him all weekend long, and Bill Tanner, sportsman champion from 1989, pulled the upset over big block star Doug Hoffman.
Incidentally, Bill Tanner is building an asphalt car and could be a factor in 1991. When we come back, we'll look at the pre-race ceremonies and the Flemington Speed and Sport 100.
Opening day at the Flemington Speedway, Saturday, April 27, featuring modified, sportsmen, late models, rookies, and the ISMA Super Modified with a 50-lap championship race. Racing begins at 6 o'clock. The gates will open at 9 o'clock for inspection and practice. At opening day at Flemington Speedway, Saturday, April 27.